Hey, it's FYF Sports, man. We back. Another podcast episode. This is one of our special edition episodes on the NBA. Again, this is probably one of my favorite types of videos to do because I love talking about future prospects in sports. But before we get into all that, we got to speak with Steph over here. He's got to run down the list of sponsors real quick before we get started. And then once we give them credit, we can hop right into the show.
Man, what's going on, everybody, man? We got these sponsors, which is nobody, again. But this is one of my favorites as well, talking about who's coming to the NBA, what we think and what we expect from those players. So it'll be interesting to see who's Lamont, who's his top prospect is, and see what they can do to what we can talk about and what we can do to help better these players as well, man.
All right, yeah, that's what the topic is today, man. We're gonna be breaking down the NBA draft. I know with the season restart back up, the NBA has announced some deadline dates for players to declare for the draft. So that's something that we have to start considering right now. You know, who's coming in. A lot of people will say that the 2020 draft class coming in this year is probably a weaker draft class. I don't necessarily feel that way. I just think that it's going to be more based on what teams need as opposed to just grabbing the best player available. But again, I mean, there's always hidden gems in every draft. We see that year in and year out. We have guys out of the second round who surprise us. We got guys who get picked lower in the first round who always come out and surprise us. And I really think we definitely will see that this year.
And I really think some of these prospects, it's really going to hurt a lot of them because of March Madness. We know around that time, that's when we see the stars, the stars and who steps up in these big moments. We don't know who those are, so we're just basically going off just season accolades. A lot of people that show out, that doesn't do good during the season and show out during the March Madness, they get bumped up. In this case, we had nobody, so it'll be interesting to see who these scouts are looking at.
Yeah, I think for the most part, these scouts have been looking at these players for quite some time. I mean, March Madness does help give you an indicator as to what they can do on a bigger scale. But I think for the most part, these teams have a good idea of what these players can and can't do because they spend a lot of time. They spend years and months studying these players on and off the court. So
right, but you got to understand as well, though, the players that aren't being looked at, that draft class or the scouts not looking at, that helps them. So if they arise in the March Madness, that bumps them up. So I'm like, who is this guy?
It could. I mean, we've seen players have great runs in March Madness, but it didn't increase their draft stock. We've seen, like, I'll give you the example I use a lot is with Carson Edwards. He had probably one of the best runs in college basketball history, leading Purdue to the Elite Eight, almost to the Final Four, just one bounce away from being in the Final Four, almost beating Virginia. So, again, and then he was dropping 35, 40 points a game, in dramatic fashion. So,
right. I mean, I just feel like it. I mean, that's the perfect example because I mean, all through the season he was doing his thing.
But that's what I mean. That, like, I don't think March Madness will necessarily. I mean, it helps, but at the end of the day,
it helps.
Yeah, so I think the player, a good example of March Madness actually helping a player whose draft stock was DiVincenzo for the Bucks.
I was just about to say that.
So when he played for Villanova, he was kind of unheard of on that team. Now we all knew he was a good player, but he had a nice run in the tournament.
He had a nice run
that made him almost a lottery pick, and so.
Right, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, all those.
Yeah, but see, Josh Hart was we already knew who Josh Hart was. Mikal Bridges, he was a higher. DiVincenzo was a kind of an unknown. Like we didn't know a DiVincenzo until he came on the scene.
Yeah, because what was he? I think he was just a freshman or a sophomore or something like that.
Yeah, he was a really young guy.
Yeah, so I mean, but those guys we knew of them, but they wasn't talked about like that. Because, I mean, they were there for like the whole 4 years.
Right.
Well, yeah.
All right.
Let's get into the draft, bro.
So as we talk about the draft, so we're gonna just go in order of, just from the top prospects. This is not in any particular order. This is actually USA Today's list. And so we're going to start with one player who a lot of people have said he's arguably the best player in this draft, but a lot of people don't know who he is. We have Anthony Edwards. This is a guy that the Golden State Warriors are really high on. At least that's what reports say. So I don't like to really trust these reports because a lot of times teams will put stuff out there to lead other teams to believe that they want a particular player, and then kind of bait teams into making ridiculous offers. So we have the Golden State Warriors here with drafting Anthony Edwards, a guard out of Georgia. He's an athletic big guard, not a very good shooter, but he's he can attack the basket. He's a great finisher, and he has like that Russell Westbrook mentality.
Yeah, he's strong, bro.
Yeah, he's on go.
I mean, I'm 6'3", but he's 235 pounds, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I like Anthony Edwards. I haven't seen enough of him to know if what he does will work with the Warriors. I know that the Warriors do need more perimeter defense. I mean, every team in the NBA can use more perimeter defense, but the Warriors' biggest hole this year was interior defense or in a post presence. Maybe they can sign a big. Maybe there's a big out there, a free agent who they could sign that could fill that void. Like we talked about Dwight Howard. Maybe potentially coming in so they don't have to go searching a big right now.
That'd be nice.
But Anthony Edwards, I get, from what I'm hearing, he's gonna be a great player. Again, I haven't seen enough of him to know what do you know about Anthony Edwards, Steph?
I don't know too much about him, bro. Not too much about just from what I read. I mean, like we said, the Golden State Warriors need length. I mean, he does have a 6'10" wingspan, but I mean, he averaged 19 points in the SEC. So I mean, it'd be interesting to see, bro. Like, I really don't know too much about Anthony Edwards, honestly.
What I always look at, man, and this has been a trend, is great college players who play on teams that aren't very successful. Georgia was a team that struggled to win games, and that bothers me when I'm looking at players. So if we look at some of the great players who played at smaller schools or schools that are not necessarily known for basketball. We're talking about C.J. McCollum, Damian Lillard. Even if we go to players like Adam Morrison. I mean, we're talking about players who were able to lead their teams to having a lot of success. I think like Markelle Fultz, he was great in college, but his team didn't have a lot of success. And I think knowing how to win, knowing how to be a leader in that fashion matters. Or what do you think about Anthony Edwards as a leader and a winner? Because Georgia struggled in that aspect.
Go ahead and repeat that again.
So Georgia struggled to win in the SEC.
Right.
And we're talking about an SEC that's been weaker than normal, right? So the only strong team out of the SEC has been Kentucky.
Okay, right.
Right. There's really no other teams. Florida's been up and down year to year, but for the most part, they haven't been the same. Same with Missouri, Vanderbilt. All of these teams in the SEC have struggled. Georgia's in the SEC with the best player, one of the best players in the country, and they still struggle on a night in and night out basis. Right. Does that have any factor into his leadership or his ability to win, or you think it doesn't matter as he goes into the NBA?
Me personally, I would take that into accountability as well. But as you know, what we read and what we see are two different things. You know what I'm saying? Like we interviewed a lot of different coaches, and what they look for in scouting, they look for his body language. Does he challenge his teammates? Does he encourage his teammates? When they're down, how does he act? You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. All those play a factor. Those are something that you're not going to see when you're pulling up Anthony Edwards. So you're going to just see the points, his wingspan, his height, things of that nature. So,
how do you feel about just the winning? Like we know in college it just takes one great player to lead your team to having a great season. Like Carson Edwards. We can name a lot of like CJ, Damian. Mm-hmm. These were all singular great players on
Right.
teams that are traditionally not very good basketball schools, but they were able to lead them into the tournament, have them doing things that they don't normally do.
Right.
We haven't seen that out of Anthony Edwards in Georgia. We haven't seen those big upset wins. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen. They've struggled to get into the tournament. We haven't seen those deep tournament runs. Not necessarily to the standard of winning a national championship, but again, I think being a winner matters. And only thing that worries me about Anthony Edwards is that I haven't seen him be a winner at Georgia. Now that could be a lot to do with the team itself, but again, I've seen too many teams and players with just one great player lead them, and that's all it takes in college. So again, that's the one thing that worries me about Anthony Edwards.
You gotta still look at a different perspective as well. Look at Trae Young. They started off good, but then they what would they lose, like 11, 12 straight games?
They did, but
So,
they still went to the tournament.
They definitely still went to the tournament. I mean, but we don't know what Anthony Edwards would have done. You know what I'm saying? They had a chance to turn it around.
I know.
So I mean,
but he was a 3-year player. He's a 3-year player, I think.
No. He was a freshman. It was freshman year.
I don't think Anthony Edwards was a freshman.
Yeah, he was definitely. I think he was a freshman, bro.
I think he spent at least 2 years at Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look up. I think he spent multiple years at Georgia.
No, I think he was a freshman. I'm looking at it right now. Ranked 9th in NCAA, 2nd in the SEC. See, players like this, what they gotta do.
Oh yeah, no, he had one season at Georgia, 1 season.
Right, which is this one.
Yep. I don't know why. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. I don't know why I thought he had multiple years there. And he just looks older too.
I mean, that's most of these kids that's coming out nowadays. All of them look, just their build make them look older.
Yeah.
And everybody has mustaches and things.
All right, so we're gonna go to this. We got the second player on our list here. This guy dealt with some eligibility issues out of Memphis. We got James Weisman. What do you got on James Weisman?
Yeah, James Weisman, 7-1. I mean, coming out, he was ranked really high. He was a type of player that everyone wanted. I didn't really get to see him too much this year, bro. I really didn't get to see him too much this year. He's on the lot. A lot of people scouting report. So I mean, what do you know about him?
I like James Weisman. From what I've seen when he played with Memphis this year, I just seen straight dominance. The man came in a few games that he did play, and he came in and dominated every game that he played. I could tell that if he was able to remain eligible for the season, which they did suspend him and gave him the opportunity to come back. He chose to sit the season out to get ready for the draft, which was a smart move on him. But when he was in the game, when he played, they looked like a team that could win the national championship. And without him, they looked like just a regular NCAA tournament team.
Yeah, I see he averaged 19 and 10.
But it wasn't just 19 and 10. It was impactful 19 and 10. Like
right.
It changed the game. Like whenever he was in the game, he made D1 basketball look extremely easy as a freshman. So I think his transition to the NBA, the way he was able to transition to NCAA just like that, I think his transition to the NBA is going to be very smooth if he gets to the right situation. I don't see the Knicks taking him. I don't, because they already have a couple established bigs. The Golden State Warriors have the biggest hole at center that needs to get filled. They don't have that dominant presence. They don't have that rim protection. Kevin Looney's been hurt, and they've relied on veteran centers during their championship runs. I think they could use a guy like this if they could find a way to integrate him into the offense, man. What teams do you see him meshing well with?
Someone like himself that can also handle the ball. I like him with the Golden State. I like him with the Golden State Warriors. Another team that he might played well, and the offensive wise, let me see. It plays a something like someone like the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics need a big like that.
But we gotta think lottery teams. Like the Celtics aren't gonna be a lottery.
They're definitely not gonna be a lottery.
Yeah, they're not gonna have a
I'm
shot at getting
some team that could. If we're talking about teams that
we're just talking about the top, the top 10 teams that could
Yeah.
potentially get the number 1, 2, or 3 pick. You know, the Hawks. You know, we're looking at, you know, some of these weaker teams in the league. The Cleveland Cavs. I don't know if the Cavs need him. Andre Drummond just opted into his contract. They still have Kevin Love, so I don't see Cleveland going after another center.
Yeah, he won't trip for those two teams anyway. I think the best team for him would be the Warriors.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes sense. All right.
It definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, James Weisman again. I don't want to say he has the most upside. I think he's one of the most NBA ready guys in this draft. Like he can come in and just like the center here at Phoenix, he can come in. Yeah, and just like Aiden, he can come in and be an instant impact guy. And like Aiden might not go down as a Hall of Fame center, but he's gonna be an impact player for years to come here in Phoenix. So we're gonna go to the next guy on the list, and we're gonna try to scroll through these guys a little bit faster. Next thing on this list is Obi Toppin, man. He's kind of went under the radar over at Dayton the last few years, but this past year, he helped Dayton. I think they got up in the top 5 in the rankings. They might have slid, but again, Dayton came out of nowhere with Obi Toppin. This guy, high energy. This guy tries to dunk everything that he can. Super athletic.
I've seen a lot of his videos, bro. He's like crazy athletic.
What do you think? You know, what do you think he can bring, man? What do you think he can bring to the NBA, and what teams might be interested in Obi Toppin?
He needs a team that runs fast pace. That's the type of player he is. I mean, you don't see him, shoot the ball as much or anything like that. I think he needs the type of player he is. I mean, he's only 6'9", so he's undersized for the position that he's going to be playing in the NBA. But that's what the teams are looking for. So I mean, he reminds me of a Zion type of player. The way he plays above the rim. Blake Griffin, when he first got into the league, those type of players. I mean, he probably not going to be as impactful as a Zion, but I think he'll be a very impactful player. But he needs a team that runs up and down. So I would say somebody he can play with something like the Phoenix Suns.
Well, I'm thinking. I think if we're talking lottery teams, because again, I don't know if Phoenix will be in the lottery, but Minnesota and the Chicago Bulls have both been eyeing this guy right here. I think the Bulls, they've been drafting a lot of guards lately. They could use a small forward, a guy that could kind of play the 3 and the 4.
We can go down a list of a lot of players that the Bulls should have got or who they could. And I'm a Chicago native, so they've been horrible at this forever. I can pick a better lineup of better player than him. I mean,
right. Well, we're like in regards to Obi Toppin, like how do you think he meshes with the Bulls or the Minnesota Timberwolves?
If anybody, I would say the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think he can help that team out better than the Bulls. The Bulls, they have to restructure that whole team.
Well, the Bulls are probably going to have new coaches in. They've already let go of the GM, so they're going to have a new foundation going into next season, and that's why I think bringing in a guy like Obi Toppin. I mean, you got Lauri Markkanen at the center there. They're missing that premier power forward, small forward type player that can help complement Lauri Markkanen and take some of that pressure off him.
They missed a lot of good.
But it starts with just getting that one player that can fit your culture, and I think Obi Toppin could work with both. I mean, you could if you put a guy like this alongside Karl Anthony Towns, or if you put a guy like this alongside Lauri Markkanen, I think those will be good pairings. So I can see why both of those teams are eyeing a guy like this, man. But he's definitely electrifying.
I'll lean more to the Timberwolves, though.
I would say the Timberwolves as well
He'll take more pressure off
because of the
Karl
point guard
Anthony
play.
Towns. And
Yeah, I just like the point guard play. The point guard play, and with Minnesota, they're going to be able to get him the ball a little bit better. Because of Karl Anthony Towns' ability to space the floor, he's gonna be able to create that space that Obi needs to. Because Obi's one of the three. He like I said, he can't necessarily play outside in the way Karl Anthony Towns can. He's one of those pick and roll guys, screener guys, run the floor type guys. And again, he may develop some of these other attributes that we like to see, but I don't know. You never know. But I think the Bulls or the Minnesota Timberwolves would be a great fit for him, just based on his base. And then again, we're just talking about need. These are Minnesota and Chicago are two teams that are guard heavy right now. So again, they don't necessarily need guards, although there are a lot of guards in this draft. All right, man. So we got the next player, man. I'm sure you know a lot about this guy. We got Lamellar Ball. And now, what's curious about this right here is it says they have him. This is a mock draft by USA Today. They have him going to the Atlanta Hawks in this mock draft. I definitely don't see that happening.
I don't see that.
I think the Hawks are looking for a guy like Anthony Edwards to put alongside. That's if they can.
John Collins.
But Anthony Edwards he would fit right into that Hawks system because that's been the Hawks' biggest weakness. That two guard. They don't have a good two guard that can that help take the pressure off Trae Young. That's been their struggle the last 2 years. But what do you think about LaMelo Ball and what team do you think he can jump right into right now and be an instant impact player?
There was a little jokes about him being with the Golden State Warriors. His dad said that wouldn't be a good pick for him. But LaMelo, man, the spotlight's going to definitely be on him. Any team could really use him. Ticket sales, but a team that, man, let me see off the top of my head. What do you think off the top of your head?
I mean, you got to think LaMelo's probably going to go top 3. So I mean, if we're talking about the teams that have the highest chance of getting one of the top 3 picks, we're looking at Golden State, the New York Knicks, and that third pick can range from the Bulls to the Cavs to Atlanta Hawks maybe. So again, there are a lot of teams that could get it. Again, this is going to be a needs-based draft. The Hawks don't need LaMelo at the point guard. They already have one ball dominant guard in Trae Young.
I think there'd be a lot of draft and trade type scenario.
There could be. I just think the best fit for him right now, the team that needs him the most is going to be the New York Knicks. Knicks don't have a point guard. They got so many guards though. Well, they have guards, but they don't have a true point. Frank Ntilikina, he's at best a shooting guard, a defensive shooting guard, but he struggled to be a true point guard. I don't know if he has the basketball IQ offensively to be the point guard of the Knicks' future. Defensively, he's been elite, so we can't take that away from him. So I think pairing LaMelo. If you pair LaMelo with a defensive-minded guard like Frank Ntilikina and then some of those other players, I think that would be great. And then the Knicks, I mean, he fits New York City. His personality with his social media following, with his experience, not just dealing with LeVar Ball, but he's dealt with media in Lithuania. He's dealt with media in Australia. He's been playing pro basketball his last 3 years. He's ready to go. He's ready for the New York atmosphere. So
he just needs to put on some weight, muscle, all that, though.
Yeah, I'm like I said, but he's growing. He's growing so fast. He's 6'7" now. So we're talking that's elite. That's an elite height 4-point guard. That he has the highest basketball IQ of all of the top 10 prospects. He has professional experience. He's played against NBA caliber guys, and then we've seen him excel playing against these guys. So again, and then I think out of all the players in the top 10, I think he has the most potential.
Yeah. If you're talking about NBA ready, that's who you're looking for. I mean, he has all the accolades. He speaks for himself. So
yeah, I mean, LaMelo again, and the thing is, he's the most flexible guy here. Like, you could plug him into Golden State. Like, if Golden State did decide to go with a guy like LaMelo Ball, they could make it work. You know, we know Steph can play off ball. We know Clay can play off ball. We know Dre can play off ball. And we know
Steph play off ball. So
yeah. So, again, the guy like this, and then we've seen, and, you know, again, and I watched a few videos on LaMelo. The one thing that scouts were talking about, which raised his draft stock, is he's increased his intensity on defense. He's actually out there going out, and he's actually trying to play defense as opposed to loafing around like he used to.
He's definitely capable, though. He's definitely capable.
But it also helps that he's grown so fast. When you grow to 6'7" and you have a crazy long wingspan, well, it makes it a lot easier. You know, it makes defense playing a lot easier. So he's not that little tiny guard that we saw at Chino Hills anymore. He's a 6'7". He's a 6'7" point guard. Super athletic.
He's 190 though, man.
But he's still 190.
I'm sure he's putting on muscle. I'm sure they're taking care of it.
Yeah, we'll let trainers deal with that, you know, because Kevin Durant came in kind of spirally, and they found a way to get him right. So again, he's a 6'7" point guard. Last played in Australia, and his team struggled, but there were flashes of greatness that we saw. So I think he'll be a good fit with a number. Unlike some of these players, he could fit in with a number of these lottery teams. He could fit in with a Minnesota. He can fit in with a Chicago Bulls team, even though they don't need any more guards. He can fit in with Golden State. He can fit in with the Knicks. So there are a lot of teams that are probably really looking at LaMelo Ball if they can get him. But I think he's going to go number one. I think that you just can't pass on him at number one. It's going to be either him or James Weisman. All right, so our next player, a lot of people don't know about this next guy, man. Onyeka Onkugua. I think I said his name right. But
Kansas?
No. This guy played at USC. This was actually LaMelo Ball's teammate at Chino Hills. See, a lot of people don't know that. So when people look at those great Chino Hills teams with all the Ball brothers, this was the center. And a lot of people don't know this as well. This guy essentially grew up with the Ball brothers. He worked out with them. He went with LeVar Ball's system. And if you look at him now, he's potentially going to be a lottery pick in this year's draft. Again, a lot of people who hate on LeVar Ball, I mean, you got to realize that people who stick with his system, it works for him. So nobody thought this guy going into USC would be a lottery pick, and he had a great freshman year. He's coming out the draft, and he's potentially going to be a top 5 pick. Now again, with regards, he's more so known as a defensive stopper. He has a nice touch around the basket. Do you know anything about this guy though, Steph?
No, just the things that I've seen. They've been talking about him for a while, but I never seen him play. So I don't really want to touch on, a player that I haven't seen play. You know, they just been talking about, Demo and Zoe. They've been showing pictures of they have the best team, and all their team that went to Chino Hill that played with the Ball brothers are potentially going to the NBA. So, I mean, I don't know too much about the guy.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's another big. They got him potentially going to Detroit at number 5. I think this is will be a great pick for Detroit. They have a really good power forward down there now. They did trade away Andre Drummond, but everybody feels like they could have got more for Drummond than what they did. But they're gonna need to replace that really quick. But I think Detroit has so many holes all across the board. They could go with any one of these players. They could go with Anthony Edwards. They could go with a LaMelo. They could go with a guy like this. I mean, they have so many holes that any one of the top 5 players in this draft could help them out. So, again, the guy out of California, he's another guy who's been associated with LeVar Ball, essentially worked out with the Ball brothers his whole life, and now he's looking to be a lottery pick. Man, I can't wait to see what he does in the NBA. Because when his 1 year at USC, he was pretty dominant. And again, the same thing with Anthony Edwards. USC did struggle to win. I know they got ranked this year for a little bit. So he's one of those players, like what you said, the tournament really would have helped him. Even though he's a lottery pick now, we really could have saw what a player like this does on the big stage. Because being on the West Coast, a lot of people don't know about him. But we will be finding out about him soon, and at least he's done enough to become a lottery pick. So, hopefully he pans out wherever he lands. So we're gonna go over a few more players here. The next guy here, and again, you may not know about this guy. I know a little bit about him. His name is Killian Hayes. He's a guard out of France. Lightning quick guard, really high basketball IQ. He's played pro all his life. Did you know anything about him, or have you seen him play?
No.
No. All right. Well, he's
So you a coach, so you got the upper hand on.
No, I mean, I just be seeing glimpses of him. He's a good player. What's been surprising at these guys out of France there's some good bloodlines coming out of France. I mean, you look at Nicolas Batum, Tony Parker, players like that.
Period, bro.
I mean, but if we're talking about France, period, like France,
we're talking about France.
France has been sending some really solid players over here to the U.S. So, I respect the development of players coming out of France. I don't know if he's a lottery pick yet. I think sometimes these guys out of these other countries are ranked a little bit too high, and then we put too many expectations on them. But again, you never know. Luka was. I know he's a one of a kind talent, but again, when you have these guys who play pro all their life, you never know what they can come over here and do in the right system.
We definitely didn't know what to expect from Luka.
We got another guy here. I've actually seen him play, Isaac Okoro out of Auburn. Auburn's actually, with Bruce Pearl down there, they actually have been kicking out a lot of good NBA players. What do you think about Auburn's program, and do you know anything about Isaac?
I don't know anything about Isaac. It seems like I don't know anything about any of these players, bro. I know a lot of them, but the ones that you're choosing.
No, these are just the top 10 prospects. So we got Isaac. We're going to finish out the list. We got Denny Vadaji out of Israel. I don't know much about this guy. The only other prospect on that list that I actually do know about is a guy out of Iowa State, and this is Tyrese Halliburton.
Isaac, as I'm saying, he only averaged like 4 points a game.
Who's that?
Isaac. Guy from Auburn.
The guy from Auburn only averaged 4 a game?
He's only averaged 4.3 points a game.
Oh. Well, again, he's just a forward out of Auburn. Again, he's probably one of those guys that is just going to get drafted off potential. Yeah. But again, like I said, we've seen that before. We've seen guys who didn't put up, Jason Tatum didn't put up massive numbers at Duke, but he came in the NBA and he'd become an elite scorer. So, again, sometimes their games are just better translating into the NBA. This is the guy right here, the number 9 from Iowa State, Tyrese Halliburton. To start the season, this guy started off as a potential top 3 pick, but he's kind of slid down. And just like you said, maybe his value was hurt due to the season being cut short early. Iowa State's just one of those teams that we just don't hear much about. And so a good run in the tournament could have opened our eyes up. But they say he's an elite level point guard. Great floor general. He did a great job at Iowa State. Again, he's going to be one of those guys that's going to be based on where he lands, based off need. He gets put in the right system, he can excel. The thing about the NBA, though, is most NBA teams are pretty set at point guard. Most are. It's not too many NBA teams that I can think of that absolutely need a point guard. Maybe the Phoenix Suns. I don't know how long Rubio's going to last down there. They could use a true point guard, put alongside Devin Booker.
He played nicely with the Suns.
He did, but still, Rubio's still older, though. He's still older. He's not the point guard of the future. You got Rubio on a team with a whole bunch of young guys. So, again, Rubio may have, 3-4 years left. But if we're talking about a point guard of the future, somebody you can develop, we're going to have, this guy would actually fit well in that system. We're going to round out the top 10. The last guy that we're going to speak about, you may know about this guy. He's the son of an NBA player. His draft stock.
Martin Jr.?
No, his draft stock dropped a little bit due to a mid-season injury. Cole Anthony of North Carolina.
I forgot all about Cole. Cole Anthony. Bro.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
what do you?
Go ahead.
Well, go. What do you think about Cole?
Cole is nice, bro. Cole is nice. I feel like he was the type of player that should have went to the NBA development, and then straight to the league from there. I think he's that good. I think he's talented. He does a lot of different things, man. Of course, he's an offensive threat. You know what I'm saying? He's capable. Of course, he's a capable defender. Got a lot of bounce to him, and I think he's gonna be huge in the NBA setting. Fast pace. That's the type of game he plays. So I think he's gonna be.
He's definitely the best shooter in this draft. He has the most range. So again, shooting is going to translate to the NBA.
No, bro. We're not gonna do that.
Who's the best shooter?
He definitely. Lamello shoot better than him.
No, that's not true.
And he has more range.
No. You don't know Cole Anthony then. You got to start doing your homework, Steph, man. We talk about Cole. Steph.
We talking about Lamello. What are you talking about?
Steph, Cole Anthony's a better shooter than Lamello. Lamello shot 23% from 3-point range in Australia.
The thing about this, I would give you.
Cole Anthony's a better shooter. He's an elite shooter.
Lamello, he just shoots whatever. Like he's
okay. That doesn't make you a good shooter.
No, it doesn't make you a good shooter. But I'm saying he don't know how to pick his shots. But he just, if he feel like he's open, he'll shoot it. But overall, I think LaMelo's a better shooter.
Look, we're gonna pull up. Like I'm gonna pull up Cole Anthony's scouting report.
All right, go ahead.
NBA scouting report. So the first thing that it says on his scouting report on NBA.com, he said one of the most premium skills in basketball is the ability to make tough shots on the perimeter. It says Anthony stands alone with his capability to hit off-balance shots with the defender in his grill. Over and over again in college, we saw him creating space with creative step-back jumpers or leaners to either side with balance, and it only comes from with thousands of reps. And again, he has that NBA bloodline in him, so he's seen NBA basketball his whole life. But this guy is definitely the best shooter in this draft. I mean, as far as just range and just shooting the basketball. Now LaMelo's he's light years ahead in playmaking.
Great, bro. Yeah,
I mean, LaMelo. I'm not gonna say LaMelo necessarily has range because LaMelo just shoots from anywhere. But when
he has range.
But when he played in Australia, he wasn't doing that. You're thinking of Chino.
Shot selection, bro. That's all. What this is about. Shot selection.
I know, but Cole Anthony makes those shots. He doesn't just shoot them; he makes them. So
LaMelo doesn't make the shots.
LaMelo's not a great shooter.
Oh, okay.
Are you saying LaMelo Ball is a great shooter? No.
I'm not saying he's a great shooter. He can shoot the ball.
Hold on, is he a good shooter?
He's a good shooter.
All right. A lot of people would say that shooting is his worst attribute.
Well, they're capping because it's not his worst.
No, I don't think he has a worse attribute. You got to do your homework, Steph, man.
Strength, I would say.
No,
but I don't think he has.
You got to do your homework on it. You got to do your homework. Nah, LaMelo's definitely got the most potential, but his strengths is definitely not shooting.
I like Cole. I like his game.
And I think in this draft, this mock draft right here has Cole Anthony going to Phoenix Suns. I mean, he's a point guard, but I don't think he's a true point guard. He's more of a scoring guard.
I like Nico Manning.
I like him too, but his stock dropped for whatever reason as well. He didn't do as good at Arizona as I thought, but
I mean, the season was far from over.
Yeah, the season.
That's the type of player that would have,
Yeah, I think Nico's more of a true point guard that could step in and help the Phoenix Suns.
He can score the ball too. Yeah.
Not to mention Nico's from Phoenix, so he would he'd be an instant hometown favorite. So he would be a great fit. But Cole Anthony, again, he's one of those players with those NBA bloodlines. He could probably step in and fit in wherever he went, and just because of his ability to score and understand the game of basketball.
So all he do is play with NBA players. So
yeah, so hey,
it only helps him. LaMelo as well.
Yeah. So. Hey, that rounds out the list there. Those are our top 10 guys right there. I know there's some few other guys below this list that we didn't really get to touch on. But again,
and
this
those,
is.
And that's the crazy part, because those a couple players that we did touch on, those are the players that I know that.
Well, I mean,
I personally like. But
I like R.J. Hampton. We didn't talk on R.J. Hampton. He's a guy that a lot of people talk about. Nico Mannion, just like what we said there. I'm just going down the list, some of the more popular names. But and they don't even have Nico Mannion in the top 25 on this list. So that's crazy.
I see him on. I'm just looking at the prospect list. Period.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about Cassius Stanley from Duke, and they didn't really talk about any of the Duke prospects. So
again, Carey from Duke.
Yeah, I think Vernon Carey's good too.
Yeah, he's okay. The other one, he's staying.
All right, y'all. Hey, it's FYF Sports, man. That was a great episode on the NBA draft. Curious to see how these draft prospects pan out next season once they come into the NBA, and then I'm also curious to see where they land. That's going to be the big thing for a lot of these players. Can you put them in the right situation? Are these teams primed and ready for success? Again, there's a lot of questions around the Knicks organization. They made some big hires, changing that front office right there. So hopefully that pans out and it makes some culture changes in the way they draft and the way they develop players, because they've been struggling. Same thing with the Cavs, same thing with the Bulls, same thing with the Pistons. These are teams just perennially just been struggling. So hopefully these teams can find something in this year's draft. But Steph, you got anything else as we end this show?
Man, love and respect to everyone that's out there, man. That's looking to make the world a better place and trying to figure out what's going on with the COVID-19, and everyone that's trying to change due to profiling, things of that nature. And also love to our viewers. If you're new to the channel, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and thanks for joining in.
All right, y'all. Hey, like I said, make sure you hit us up on all social media platforms, Instagram and Twitter. The links will be in the description of the video. Also, make sure you join our Facebook page, FYF Sports Debates, and then make sure you also join our Facebook group. So there's two separate things. Our Facebook group, NBA GOAT Talk. That's where we're going to be holding all of our live debates. So make sure you join our group. Again, there are a lot of groups out there with similar names. Try to be the fake FYF Sports Talk group. Make sure you join NBA GOAT Talk. Look for our logo on the page. And once we get to 500 members, we will start our live debates on not Instagram, but Facebook and YouTube. So you're gonna want to be a part of that. Our live debates are a little bit different. But the people who make the best arguments, there will be cash prizes and things of that nature given. So you don't want to miss out on that as well. But again, great episode on the draft. Can't wait to find out more. Can't wait to find out just the draft lottery and who gets to select first. That's going to make a big difference. And then again, just the NBA in general is back, and can't wait to see what happens next with the NBA. Hey, but it's FYF Sports, and we out. How I build my base, reach the masses with my pain, somehow they relate. It's still trap or die till I'm at my weight. Thumbing through the check, give me the shakes. My pockets running over, always meet my quota. Pistol in the holster, I'm kinda antisocial. My focus entrepreneurship, won't be a mogul. Retain mobility, Spiffy gon' be mobile. Lift every voice when I sing, gon' be vocal. Waiting for shit in transit, remember being postal. Dodge the alphabet, boys, keep eye out for locals. I'm international, Spiffy can't be local. Think they surf borders, how they try and ride waves. Some people put trust in me, I'll take it to my grave. Feel like I walk on water ever since I got paid. The diesel boom can jack the prices up on the heads.